seated. Or heard.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are here for the sentencing hearing in State of Ohio versus Savannah Majernik, case number 24-CR-553. Defendant is present and represented by attorney Rachel Smith. At our last hearing, the defendant pled guilty to 1 count F5 aggravated possession of drugs with the forfeiture specification. Court-ordered referrals be done by the Lake County Adult Probation Department for pre-sentence report and drug and alcohol analysis report. Both have been completed. Also, the licensed clinical social worker, Lisa Friend, who completed that drug and alcohol analysis report, is present as well. Defendant has 55 days jail time credit. There was a agreed sentencing recommendation of community control sanctions between the defense and state. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. On behalf of Ms. Majernik, Mr. Hurd is correct. There is a joint recommendation for community control in this case. We have spent extensive time in chambers discussing the various factors at play and sentencing considerations for Ms. Majernik, and I'm not going to belabor many of those points. But for purposes of the record, Ms. Majernik is 24 years old. She's single, she's got no kids, has an 11th grade education, and was not employed at the time of this offense. Ms. Majernik has an extensive substance use history as well as an extensive trauma history. I do believe that it is a unanimous opinion in this room that her substance use is directly tied to her trauma history, and that there is trauma that needs to be addressed in order to set Ms. Majernik up for a future and a lifetime of sobriety. Ms. Majernik has been able to attain sobriety in the past. She has developed a love for being sober, but she relapsed nonetheless. And Your Honor, in order to set Ms. Majernik up for a lifetime of possible success, we are asking that she be placed on community control with the condition that she engage in outpatient treatment that is dual diagnosis treatment to address both the substance use disorder and the trauma history. Ms. Majernik is also open to MAT, medication-assisted treatment, would be open to completing the jail treatment program before being released, and is asking the court to allow her to return, once she is released, to allow her to return to her adoptive parents' home. She would be willing to be on electronic monitoring while she completes IOP following JTP, if that's the path that things should take.
Okay, thank you. All right, where are you at, Savannah? Because you've been all over the place.
Yeah.
Starting, not just on this case, on December 10th, you wanted to go to prison.
Yeah.
And sometime after that, you didn't, and you wanted to do treatment. And then, I guess I walked out here prematurely this morning, and the word I was getting is you wanted to go to prison. So where are you at?
I want to do treatment, like IOP and stuff, the jail treatment program. But I want to go home to my parents after. Like, I want to be with my parents. And I know it's, like, not really my call. It's, obviously yours. And it's taken me a minute to even consider, like, giving probation another shot. Because last time I wasn't that great at it.
Most people aren't.
Right, but sitting in jail over like this time, I got through the withdrawals, and I finally started to like feel like what it was like to be sober again, like the genuine happiness within myself, like the like feelings, and that's what changed my mind about the whole prison thing. Because when I seen you December 10th, it was just more of like I was detoxing still. I wanted to like just get it over and done with and just go back home and start doing what I usually do, running the streets. But that's like no longer the case now. Like I said before, I needed this time as a reminder of like what I don't want my life to be like anymore. I don't know what it's gonna take, but I know I can do it. I'm capable of doing it. I have the tools. I just need to stop being so hard-headed.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So when we were here Wednesday, we were talking about Oak or Nevaeh, which you've been to Nevaeh, right?
Yep.
Okay. Did you complete Nevaeh?
Yes.
Okay. And you immediately recoiled, right? Because you didn't want to do that.
Right.
And you're suggesting to me that you want to do IOP, right? Okay. So here's the push-pull that goes on with me as I sit here. There's a it's a very tricky line that I walk between trying to figure out, in my view, what should be done for the benefit of you or whoever's sitting there in your spot, okay, versus letting you drive the train of where you think it should go because that's what you want.
Right.
Okay? Because to coin a phrase that's often used, you can't let the inmates run the asylum, right?
Right.
Okay? Because if you do, nothing ever gets accomplished. Okay? Now, the contra to that is that the reason probation most times doesn't succeed is because the person either doesn't want it to succeed or wants it to succeed but won't put in the effort to make it succeed. And oftentimes that's the case. Okay? So I know one thing for sure. Now you've expressed a desire twice in the last 6 weeks to just go to prison and get it over with. Okay? If I did that, you would surely go to prison and start doing the drugs that are available in prison.
Right.
And then you'd get out, and then within a month after you got out, you'd probably be talking to that Michael Beaver, okay, and you'd be back again. Or substitute another Mike, okay, and you'd be back again. Okay? And we'd be talking about the same thing a year from now, right? I could send you to some treatment over here. I could send you to NeoCap, and you'd be there for a while, and you would either put in the work or you wouldn't put in the work. Okay? And my guess is you wouldn't put in the work because you would resent being there. Whether you were right to resent it or wrong to resent it, that's probably a fact. All right? So whatever I do, you have to have some belief that it's going to be a benefit. Okay? Because it doesn't matter what I do. Really, one of the interesting things about this job is it really doesn't matter what I do. It matters what you do. Okay? If you don't believe that in what you're doing, you ain't going to do it, and it ain't going to matter what I say. Okay? I'm just the guy that cleans up the mess after the, I guess, what was the name of that place you want to work, Broken Egg or something like that? I mean, after the eggs break, I clean up the mess. That's what I do. Okay, that's all I do. All right. So you didn't, from what I can gather, you didn't have any of these problems until the whole family situation blew up, right? I mean, is that kind of the time frame of things?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to figure, you got to maneuver your way through that with the people and the tools that are used to maneuver your way through that. Because until you do that, it really ain't going to make a difference. So that's the difficulty here. So you seem to be fixated on what I said to you last time you were on probation, or last time you were here. You mentioned that a couple of times. I mean, you gotta get that out of your mind, okay? 'Cause I can't remember what I said to you. I probably said to you what I've said to other people. And sometimes that spurs them on to change, and sometimes it doesn't, okay? But the fact that you failed on probation before doesn't really matter now. So that's kind of where I'm at, if any of that makes any sense to you. Okay? And she's been in 55 days, Kaylee?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where do you live?
Madison,
Where at? What's the address?
1337 Oxford Drive.
Okay. And who else lives there?
My mom, my dad, my sister Vicky, my sister Heather, and their daughters.
Okay. And where is this place that the arrangement has been made to go to work? Go ahead.
Hi, Your Honor. Daryl and Don Clemens, they own the Broken Yoke Ranch, and they own the Oak Cafes, and they own a couple drinking places, and they help clients get back into society and help them get off the drugs and all that, to get their lives back in order and all that. But they do request that she get some kind of treatment before they can hire her, just to make sure that they're, you know, not getting somebody that's gonna come in there and just do drugs and not do what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay. That makes sense. Where's that located?
The Oak Ranch is out there in Thompson. There's a cafe in Thompson. The Oak Cafe is in Thompson. There's an Oak Cafe in Madison off of 20 by Hubbard Road, 528. And then drinking places they got out there in Ashtabula and all that.
Okay. All right. Where, you'd been going to Lake Geauga?
Yes.
How long you been going there?
I think it's a little over 3 years
Okay.
now. Yeah.
And tell me again who you see there?
I see April the psychiatrist, Mary Beth and Carlin, which do the MAT services. I see Drina as my counselor, which is weekly. And then I see Drina for IOP too, when I was in her IOP classes.
And when was that? When was the last time that you were involved there?
I was in her IOP classes in the beginning of last year before I caught this case. And I was on and off seeing her throughout the year until September.
Okay. And the mat consisted of what?
Vivitrol shot.
And what medication had they prescribed?
Duloxetine, Prazosin, Klonidine, and then Remron.
Okay. And were you taking that when you were supposed to take it?
Yes.
Until the relapse?
No, I was still taking it during the relapse.
Okay. What effect did your legitimate meds have on the illicit drugs?
I mean, not the best, but in my mind, I thought it was still in my system, so maybe it would help a little, but I think it wasn't.
Is that what you told yourself?
Yep.
Okay. Because I ain't no doctor, okay, but there ain't no way that medication prescribed to alleviate some imbalance isn't going to be thrown off by some other
Yeah, I know.
toxic chemicals, okay? All right. I'm going to place you on community control for 5 years. Does that 5 years, does that, what's your first thought when I said 5 years?
I expected it.
Okay. Do you think that's a long time?
Yes, but not if I'm going to change my life around and do what is supposed to be done. I should have no problem doing it.
All right, I'm going to give you 60 days in jail with credit for 55. No drugs or alcohol with screens. You're going to get back to Lake Geauga and get in their dual diagnosis program. And by that I mean what you described to me, what you were doing before, meaning the IOP, meaning the psychiatrist, meaning the counselor, and you're to follow what they tell you to do. And if that means the Vivitrol, that means the Vivitrol. Because you had some level of success with them. Okay. So you're going to get back to doing that. You're going to get full employment at the appropriate time. And I would imagine that the prospective employer is going to want to know you got some time under your belt that you're in the treatment. So throughout this process, you're going to get a valid, have you ever had a license?
No.
You're going to get a license. No contact with Mike Beaver,
Okay.
who's in jail right now for assaulting his current girlfriend,
Yes.
I guess I'll say, for whatever that means. You're going to pay the costs and supervision fees. And I'm going to set up a review hearing for you, which will probably take place sometime toward the end of February.
Okay.
And we'll determine if other conditions of community control should be placed upon you.
Okay.
So this is what we're doing for now. We're going to have this review, and Rachel, I'll have you get a date from Maria. But for the time being, Ms. Warren, any other terms immediately?
If you could order releases to be signed, if you would like to consider A.
Yeah, you'll sign releases with Lake Geauga so we can get your records. You understand everything?
Yes.
Okay. So if you know what happens if you don't comply, you'll be back again, because we've been down that road, right?
Yes.
So, and the exposure is 12 months in prison, you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hurd, anything else?
Forfeiture of items, Your Honor.
Forfeited.
And also, I might have missed it, but did you order abstinence from drugs and alcohol on drug screens?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Smith, anything else?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, so you go get that date. Oh, yeah, there is one other thing. You're gonna live at that Madison address.
Yes.
Okay. So you have to live there. Can't live anywhere else.
Okay.
And that's 1337 Oxford Drive?
Yes.
1337?
1337.
Okay.
All right, so you've told me that you know what you have to do.
Yes.
You just have to do it, and this gives you the network around you that should help you do it, but the rest is up to you. All right?
Thank you.